Your search in these lands was merely a struggle to find a roof over your head. In those cold nights where the rain hammered relentlessly against the wooden rooftops, you counted the last coins in your pocket, desperately seeking a home. In that moment, where exhaustion and despair had blinded you, you foolishly thought fate was finally smiling upon you. Today, you and I will cross the threshold of that old wooden gate. We will settle into that house where you didn't even have the strength to ask, why is it so cheap? We will confront the reality that the strange creaking sounds you hear in the silence are not just the wind. We will feel that the four walls where you hoped to find peace are actually playing host to someone else's unending agony. And we will realize that in that darkness, you are not alone. The year is somewhere in the late 19th century, a time when the old world of shadows is slowly dying, but not yet dead. You have been walking for hours, or perhaps days. Time has lost its meaning under the relentless gray sky. The rain in this part of Japan does not cleanse, it weighs you down. It soaks through your straw raincoat, chilling you to the very marrow of your bones. The wooden clatter of your geta sandals against the muddy stones echoes in the narrow alleys, a rhythm that accompanies your solitude. You are a stranger here, or perhaps you have just become estranged from your own life. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the weight of the small pouch at your waist. It is light, terrifyingly light. The few copper coins clinking inside are all that stand between you and sleeping in the mud. You need a place. Not a palace, not a sanctuary, just a box to hide from this relentless downpour. The city is a labyrinth of wet wood and paper lanterns that flicker like dying souls. You pass by inns that smell of warm sake and grilled fish, but you do not stop. You cannot afford to stop. The warmth is for those with silver. The cold is for you. Your eyes scan the handwritten notices posted on damp walls, the ink bleeding in the humidity. Most are far beyond your reach. Despair begins to tighten its grip around your throat, a familiar, suffocating hand. Then you see him, an old intermediary, standing under the eaves of a closed shop, smoking a thin pipe. His face is a map of deep wrinkles, his eyes obscured by the shadow of his hat. You approach him, driven by a desperation that overrides caution. You tell him what you need. Something cheap, anything, even a single room. The old man looks at you, his gaze lingering on your tired face, then down to your meager money pouch. He doesn't mock you. Instead, a strange expression crosses his face, something like pity or perhaps hesitation. He taps the ash from his pipe and speaks in a rasping voice. He knows a place. It is at the edge of the town, bordering the dense, whispering bamboo forest. A small house, fully detached. And the price? The price is absurdly low. It is cheaper than a single room in the filthiest tenement in the city. Why, you want to ask? The rational part of your mind, the part that is not shivering from hypothermia, screams that there is a catch. But then a gust of wind cuts through your wet clothes, making your teeth chatter. You nod. You don't care about the why. You only care about the where. You follow him. The journey takes you away from the warm glow of the town center. The lanterns become fewer, the shadows longer. The noise of the crowd fades, replaced by the sound of rain hitting the leaves and the groaning of bamboo stalks swaying in the wind. The path becomes narrower, the mud deeper. Finally, the structure emerges from the gloom. It is an old house, the wood darkened by years, perhaps decades of rain and neglect. Moss clings to the roof tiles like a disease. The paper on the shoji doors is yellowed and torn in places, fluttering like dead skin. But it has a roof, it has walls, it is dry. The old man stops at the gate but does not enter. He stands in the rain, refusing to step onto the property. He extends a hand for the coins. You pay him a pittance for what looks like a palace to your tired eyes. He hands you a heavy, rusted iron key. The previous tenant, he starts to say something, then stops. He looks at the house, then back at you, and shakes his head. Just light a candle. Keep it bright. With that, he turns and hurries away, disappearing into the mist faster than an old man should be able to move. You are left alone, standing before your new home. You slide the wooden gate open. It resists, groaning in protest, a sound that resembles a cry of pain more than mechanical friction. You step into the Gen-Con entryway. The air inside is stagnant. It is colder than the outside, if that is even possible. It smells of old straw mats, the tatami, and something else, something sweet, sickly, and faint, like flowers left on a grave for too long. But you are too exhausted to analyze the scent. You are too tired to wonder why the air feels heavy, pressing against your chest. You take off your wet sandals, your feet touching the cold wooden floor. You have a home now. You have saved yourself from the street. You drop your bag in the center of the main room. Darkness surrounds you, absolute and suffocating. You fumble for your flint and strike a light, igniting a small candle. The flame flickers violently, though there is no draft. The shadows dance on the walls, stretching and contorting. I am safe, you whisper to yourself, your voice sounding small and intruder-like in the vast silence of the house. I am finally safe. You unroll your futon on the tatami, ignoring the damp spot in the corner of the ceiling that looks like a weeping eye. You lie down, closing your eyes, desperate for sleep. But as your breathing slows, you hear it, a sound from the other side of the paper wall, a soft, wet drag, like a heavy cloth being pulled over wood, or a body dragging itself. You freeze. You hold your breath. Silence returns. Just the rain. It's just the house settling, you tell yourself. Just the wind. You close your eyes again, forcing your mind to shut down. You drift into a restless sleep, unaware that in the darkness of the ceiling beams above you, something has been waiting for a new tenant for a very, very long time. Morning arrives, but it does not bring the salvation of light you had hoped for. The sun struggles to pierce through the heavy, gray clouds that seem eternally tethered to the roof of this valley. Inside the house, the daylight is weak, filtering through the translucent paper of the shoji doors like milk dissolving in water. It is a pale, sickly illumination that casts no distinct shadows but leaves everything in a haze. You wake with a stiffness in your joints, the dampness of the tatami mats having seeped into your back during the night. The first thing you notice is not the cold, but the smell. Last night you were too exhausted to place it. Now, with your senses rested, it is undeniable. It is faint, lingering beneath the scent of old straw and rain, a cloying, sweet odor. It reminds you of overripe persimmons that have fallen into the mud and begun to ferment, or perhaps the scent of cheap incense used to mask something far more unpleasant. You try to shake off the unease. It is just an old house, you tell yourself, your voice sounding too loud in the empty room. It just needs air. You spend the day trying to claim the space. You open the sliding doors to the engoa, veranda, letting the humid breeze sweep through the rooms. You scrub the wooden floorboards with a rag and cold water, your hands turning red and numb. You try to arrange your few meager belongings, a small clay teapot, your spare robe, a comb, to make this hollow shell look like a home. But the house resists you. No matter how much you scrub, a dark stain in the corner of the main room, shaped vaguely like a crouching figure, refuses to fade. It seems to be part of the wood grain itself, a permanent bruise on the house's skin. As twilight falls, The atmosphere shifts palpably. The air grows heavy, pressing against your eardrums like deep water. You light your oil lamp, the small flame creating a circle of safety in the center of the room. Outside, the crickets begin their nightly chorus, but then, abruptly, they stop. The silence that follows is deafening. You prepare for bed, sliding the shoji doors shut to separate your sleeping area from the dark, empty hallway. The paper screens are thin, fragile barriers against the night. You lie down, pulling the futon up to your chin, staring at the wooden beams of the ceiling. Sleep comes in fits and starts. Then, somewhere in the deep trough of the night, you wake up. You don't know what woke you. There was no crash, no scream. Just a sudden, primal awareness that the composition of the room has changed. You lie perfectly still, your heart hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. You turn your head slowly toward the shoji doors. The oil lamp has burned low, casting long, flickering shadows. And there, projected onto the paper screen from the hallway side, is a shadow that shouldn't be there. It is low to the ground, not standing, but hunched, the silhouette of something sitting. The hair is wild and disheveled, splayed out like ink spilled on the paper. You tell yourself it is a trick of the light. A bush outside casting a shadow through the window. A pile of old rags you left in the hall. You squeeze your eyes shut. It's nothing. It's nothing. You count to 10. You open your eyes. The shadow has moved. It is closer now. The silhouette is larger on the paper screen. The shape is undeniable. A human head bowed low and shoulders hunched in misery. And then comes the sound. That same sound from the first night. Slap, drag, slap, drag. It is the sound of wet skin moving against polished wood. It is coming from just outside the door. Your breath catches in your throat. You want to shout, to ask who is there, but your vocal cords are paralyzed. The terror is icy, gripping your chest. The sound stops right in front of the sliding door. The shadow is motionless now, directly in front of you, separated only by a thin sheet of paper. You can hear breathing, not yours. A ragged, wet rasping, like air being pulled through fluid-filled lungs. You stare at the handle of the door, praying to every god you know that it doesn't move. You watch, horrified, as the paper screen vibrates slightly, as if someone on the other side is resting their forehead against it. The sweet, rotting smell floods your nostrils, stronger than ever, choking you. Go away, you mouth silently, a plea to the darkness. Suddenly, the floorboard creaks, not outside, but inside your room, in the corner where the dark stain is. The presence shifts. The shadow on the door fades, not because it walked away, but because the light source has changed, or because whatever cast it is no longer outside. You pull the blanket over your head, trembling violently, curled into a ball like a child. You lie there for hours, listening to the house breathe, feeling a cold draft brush against your exposed ankle, though all the doors are closed. You do not sleep again that night. You simply wait for the sun, understanding now that the cheap price of this house was not a bargain. It was a bait. Weeks bleed into one another. Time in this house does not move by the sun or the moon. It moves by the rate of decay. The rain has not stopped, or perhaps it has, and the sound of dripping water is merely an echo trapped inside your skull. You have grown thinner. The food you buy with your dwindling coins tastes like ash. The cold has settled permanently in your chest, a dull ache that mirrors the damp stains spreading across the walls. You have stopped trying to leave. The town feels miles away, a dream from another life. Your world has shrunk to these 4 wooden walls, and the suffocating silence that fills them. It happens on a particularly stormy afternoon. The wind is howling around the eaves, rattling the amado, storm shutters, violently. You are in the back room, searching for a draft that chills your sleeping area. You suspect a gap in the floorboards of the oshiire, the deep, sliding door closet where bedding is stored. It is a dark, cramped space, smelling of old camphor and dust. You light a candle and crawl halfway into the closet, tapping the wood. Your knuckles rap against a hollow section in the corner, hidden beneath a layer of old, moth-eaten paper lining. You pry the loose board up with your trembling fingers. Beneath the floor of the closet, in the crawl space meant for air circulation, you find a small, lacquered box. It is covered in a thick layer of grime. Beside it, scratching deep into the supporting beam of the house, are marks. You bring the candle closer, and your breath hitches. They are not claw marks from a rat or a weasel. They are parallel gouges. Desperate, frantic grooves carved into the hard wood. In some of them, embedded in the splinters, are tiny, dark fragments. It takes you a moment to realize what they are. Fingernails. Someone was trapped here. Or someone hid here, writhing in such agony that they tried to claw their way through the solid timber. With shaking hands, you open the lacquer box. Inside, there is no gold, no money. There is a wooden comb with half its teeth broken, a small ceramic medicine jar that reeks of sulfur and rot, and a piece of folded washi paper. The ink on the paper is smeared, likely from tears or sweat, but the kanji characters are jagged, written with a brush held by a violent, unsteady hand. "It burns! My legs are dead! He left me! He locked the door! The water is rising! I am rotting while I breathe." The realization hits you with the force of a physical blow. The sweet, rotting smell. It wasn't the house. It was gangrene. It was sickness. The dragging sound you hear every night, it wasn't a monster stalking you. It was her. The woman who lived here. The woman whose legs had failed her, dragging her dying body across these very floors, trying to reach the door that no one would open. Suddenly, the candle flame turns blue and dies. You are plunged into absolute darkness inside the closet. But you are not alone. The air in the closet becomes freezing cold. A weight presses down on your back, heavy and wet. You feel hair, long, wet strands, brushing against your neck. You want to scream, to scramble backward out of the closet, but your legs won't move. You try to kick, to crawl, but from the waist down, you are dead weight. A phantom paralysis takes hold of you. You are feeling what she felt. A voice whispers, not in your ear, but directly into your mind. It is a gurgling, wet sound, like bubbles rising in a swamp. It hurts. It hurts. And then a sensation of intense heat, like boiling water, spreads through your immobile legs. You gasp, tears streaming down your face in the dark. It is not your pain, but it is unbearable. You are reliving her final gaze in a matter of seconds. The betrayal, the isolation, the slow rot. The presence shifts. The weight lifts from your back. The paralysis fades just enough for you to drag yourself out of the closet, gasping for air, clawing at the tatami mat just as she had clawed at the beam. You collapse in the center of the room, shivering, clutching the broken comb. You look at your legs. They are yours again. But as you look at the floorboards leading to the hallway, you see wet footprints. Not walking footprints, drags. Two long, wet streaks appearing on the dry wood, moving slowly towards you. You now know the truth. You are not a tenant. You are a companion for her misery, and she has so much pain left to share. You do not know how many months have passed. The seasons outside might have changed. Perhaps the cherry blossoms bloomed and fell. Perhaps the cicadas cried and died. But inside, it is always the same stagnant gray season, the season of rot. You have stopped looking for work. The idea of walking to the town, of smiling at strangers, of pretending to be a living human being feels like an impossible task. It requires an energy you no longer possess. The house has eaten it. Your money is gone. You sold your spare robe, then your bag, then even your sandals for a bag of rice that you barely touch. Hunger is there, a sharp cramp in your belly, but it is distant. It feels like it belongs to someone else. You spend your days lying on the tatami, watching the dust motes dance in the slivers of light. The fear has gone. This is the most terrifying part. You are no longer afraid of her. She is no longer a shadow in the corner or a noise in the night. She is your roommate. She is your constant companion. You see her clearly now. She sits in the tokonoma, alcove, her legs twisted at unnatural angles beneath her soiled kimono. Her skin is the color of old parchment, translucent and veined with blue. Her wet, black hair covers her face, but you can feel her eyes on you, watching, always watching. She doesn't attack you. She doesn't scream. She simply exists, radiating a heaviness that pins you to the floor. It is a crushing wave of sorrow, a physical pressure that makes your limbs feel like lead. Why leave? The house whispers to you in the creaking of the beams. There is nothing out there for you. You are failed. You are broken. You belong here with the broken things. You begin to believe it. The depression she suffered in life has become the air you breathe. Her memories bleed into yours. You remember waiting for a lover who never returned, though you have never had a lover. You remember the shame of illness, the isolation, the hatred for the healthy world outside. One morning, or perhaps it is evening, you drag yourself to the small basin of water to drink. You catch your reflection in the still surface. You recoil. The face looking back at you is gaunt, the eyes sunken into dark hollows, the skin gray and slack. You look like her. You are fading. You are becoming a ghost before you have even died. The smell of the house is now on your skin. You scrub, but it won't come off. The mold that grows on the walls seems to be growing in your lungs. You cough, and it tastes of earth and decay. You crawl back to your futon. She is there, closer now, sitting right beside your pillow. You can smell the stagnant water on her clothes. You don't move away. You don't have the strength. You close your eyes, and for the first time, you feel a cold, wet hand touch your forehead. It is a touch of mockery, a twisted comfort. Stay, the voice gurgles in your mind. Rot with me. We can be quiet together forever. Tears leak from your eyes, hot tracks on your cold face. You realize you are waiting to die. You are waiting for your heart to simply stop beating, too tired to go on. The house has become your coffin, and you have willingly climbed inside. You are trapped not by locks or bars, but by the utter, crushing weight of your own despair. It is the darkest hour, that heavy silence just before dawn, when spirits are strongest and humans are weakest. You are drifting in a fever dream, lying on your futon. You feel cold, so intensely cold that it burns. The presence is no longer beside you. You feel the edge of your quilt lift. Slowly, deliberately, a freezing draft hits your skin. You try to open your eyes, but your lids are heavy, glued shut by the pus of exhaustion. You feel a weight depress the mattress next to you. Then, the sensation of a body sliding into the futon with you. It is not a warm body. It is a block of ice, slick with slime. Your heart gives a violent lurch, skipping a beat. The apathy that has held you prisoner for months cracks under the sheer, primal terror of physical contact. An arm wraps around your waist. It is thin, skeletal, the skin loose on the bone. Wet hair plasters against your cheek, smelling of earth and old blood. You feel her chest against your back. It does not rise and fall. There is no heartbeat. Just a wet, gurgling vibration. She pulls you closer, spooning you in a grotesque embrace. Her head rests on your shoulder. Her mouth is right at your ear. Finally, the voice hisses, wet and eager. We are one. You feel her lips touch your neck. They are soft, rotting and freezing. She begins to tighten her grip. She is not hugging you. She is absorbing you. You feel the heat being sucked out of your body, flowing into her void. She is taking your life to warm her death. No! The scream tears from your throat, raw and animalistic. It is not a word, it is an explosion of pure adrenaline. The spell of depression shatters. The biological imperative to live overrides the psychological desire to give up. You throw your elbow back, striking something hard and wet. A hiss of pain, or perhaps anger, echoes in the room. You scramble away, kicking off the blankets, crawling across the tatami on your hands and knees. The room is pitch black, but you can hear her moving. A fast, scuttling sound. Slap, drag, slap, drag. Faster now. She is not just dragging, she is hunting. You fumble for the sliding doors. Your fingers find the wood, but in your panic, you don't slide them. You crash through them. The paper tears, the wood splinters. You tumble out onto the engawa, veranda. The night air hits you like a slap in the face. It is cold, yes, but it is fresh. It is alive. It smells of rain and mud, not rot. You don't look back. You don't stop for your sandals. You don't stop for your coin purse. You leap from the veranda into the mud of the garden. The cold rain soaks your sleeping robe instantly, plastering it to your shivering body. You run. Your bare feet slap against the wet earth, stones cutting your skin, but you feel no pain. You only feel the terror snapping at your heels. You burst through the bamboo gate, leaving it swinging in the wind, and sprint into the darkness of the road. You run until your lungs burn like fire. You run until the house is swallowed by the bamboo forest behind you. You run until you collapse in the middle of a muddy street in the town center, gasping, retching, crying. A stray dog barks at you. A lantern flickers in the distance. You are covered in mud, half naked, shivering violently. You have nothing. No money, no home, no dignity. But as you look at the steam rising from your own breath in the cold air, you realize something. You are breathing. Your heart is pounding a frantic, beautiful rhythm against your ribs. Thump, thump, thump. You look back towards the edge of the town, towards the darkness where that house stands. You cannot see it, but you can feel it. And in your mind's eye, you see her one last time, standing at the window, watching, waiting for the next desperate soul who thinks a cheap roof is a blessing. You push yourself up from the mud. You are destitute. You are alone in an unforgiving era. The road ahead will be brutal, but you turn your back on the darkness and take a step towards the faint light of the town. You are poor, cold, and scarred, but you are not hers. You are still you.